And we are back with another episode of What Would Vinny Do? I want to thank everyone for tuning in, showing the support. Thank all my guests for coming on. I got some great guests lined up. Um, just a lot to talk about. I got to try to fit it all in today. First off, I'm drinking old fashioned. We know that's my signature. I use Maker's Mark, and it's on point. I'm really feeling the Maker's Mark. I've been making it with a little different stuff. I like the Woodford Reserve. That's another one that I like. But Maker's seems to be the go-to, man. So I'm enjoying it. I'm celebrating closing today. Cheers. So I closed on a good friend's house, and I'm real happy for them. They found a place where they want to live. You know, like I said, when you're selling your house right now, it's a great time. I tell everybody it's a great time. But if you need to buy, you end up on the other side of that coin. And I talk about this a lot. And now you're selling in a seller's market, but you're buying in a seller's market, and it ended up working out. And when you're selling your house, I said it right from the beginning when I got the listing. I'm like, I'm not gonna have a problem selling the house. We're gonna have a problem probably buying a house. And they went through different areas where they were looking, and it worked out. They had a great realtor on the buy side, and it was a different area that he specialized in. And I always advocate to use a specialist. Like on this house, for example, someone gave them, before they talked to me about the listing, someone told them a listing price that was actually 100,000 less than what I ended up putting it at, and I ended up selling it over asking price. So I definitely believe in using a specialist in your area when you're selling or buying. For me, who's gonna know Pelham Bay or Country Club better than me, right? I've been here for 50 years. You know the nuances, all the different, where it's busy, high traffic areas, and you're just going to be able to do things. And on the sell side, or even on the buy side, that you're going to be definitely a commodity for that buyer or seller. So if you're thinking about selling, thinking about buying, use a specialist in the area where you're looking. And I definitely stick by that 100%. And I'm saying it. I just sold a house where they used a different agent to buy in an area that wasn't my specialty, and that's good. That's what they should do. But when they sold with me, and that's what they should do. So I'm very happy. A lot to talk about today. I got the last piece to the wall. Biggie didn't make the wall with the albums. He was right there. You know, I was gonna put Ready to Die up there, but these other albums just had a bigger impact for me. But as you can see, the neon light, it was all a dream. We know where I got that from. I hope you know where I got that from. Most people should. And the wall's intact. I got a lot of great guests lined up. I got my man John Kelly coming through, mortgage broker extraordinaire. I have the great Catherine Narducci agreed to be on the show, which I'm really happy about. You guys know her from The Bronx Tale and Sopranos and The Irishman. She just did The Irishman. She's got a lot of great stuff going on, so I'm excited to have her on. I'm going to talk about some real estate stuff though today. Like, a lot of stuff has come my way lately that proves, like, all I do is push on buying houses versus renting, and you're paying someone else's mortgage. But 3 real incidents have come to me lately from clients that just prove what I'm saying is correct. And these are real life incidents. This is not like a pitch. First, I had a client of mine who rented an apartment 8 years ago, and without me, I just happened to know them, and now I'm helping them look for something. But their landlord told them they had to be out in a month of their apartment. They needed it for family. This happens to people when they're renting, and luckily he was able to find a place in a month, and now he agrees with me that we're definitely, the next move is going to be to buy something. And it's just a smart move for so many reasons. Like, to have to pick up and move in a month, and this can happen. It does happen. It happens a lot. And then another circumstance where I had a friend, and 5 years ago she told me that she was looking for a 1-bedroom, and I said, why don't you buy something instead of renting an apartment? I'm like, if you rent an apartment, you're gonna pay $1,600, let's say a nice 1-bedroom, right? If you buy a co-op or a condo, a 1-bedroom, you'll end up, your maintenance and your mortgage can be lower than the rent, or even if it's a little higher, it's still worth it because you're building equity. And they took my advice, they bought the place. 5 years later, now they're looking at a bigger place, and guess what happened? For 5 years, if they would have been paying rent, whatever it was, let's say $1,500, that's a lot of money over 5 years. They ended up building equity. Now they're gonna sell their place and enable them to buy a bigger place. And that's how you do it. That's how I did it. I bought a 1-bedroom co-op, I bought a 1-family house, and then I bought a 2-family house. So everything that I'm preaching, I believe in, and I stand behind. And another example, I had clients who were looking to buy, and they got accepted off to the point where they got accepted offer on a property, they did inspections, and then they didn't take the house for whatever reason. They thought that happens. They thought it needed too much work. But then they decided, you know what, we're not sure if we're gonna live in New York, so we're not gonna buy anymore. So they went from buyers to renters. And now this has been a year and a half looking for a park. We started out looking for houses, and great clients. We became very close. I ended up renting an apartment for other family members of theirs, and there was a trust there. And I'm telling them the same thing that I tell everyone: you should buy, even if you don't know where you're gonna live. If you're like you just said, you don't. 2 years ago, you weren't sure if you wanted to live in New York. If you would have bought a house in New York, you would have still did good. And now 2 years later, you could sell it, or you can rent it out and go live where you want to live. If you're, and I'm saying this, if you're in a position to buy. I'm not, obviously you need to have a down payment, and that's another thing. It's a lot of people who don't know, it's not as much, it can be a lot lower than you think it is. People think you need to have all this money to buy a house, but there's certain loans where you could put 3.5% down, and you could have the closing costs rolled in. I do it all the time, and just talk to people. And buying might not be as far off as you think it is, and your monthly bills might end up being less money than actually renting. I mean, so anyway, I went off a little bit. So they changed their mind, they became renters. So for 2 years, and they wanted a certain apartment, they wanted a nice apartment, and I understand that. You want to rent something nice. So 2 years later, I get them something, and she says she's very happy, she got a great apartment, and her exact words to me were, I didn't realize it was gonna be this much money, I should have bought when you told me. Bang. So I'm telling you real life stories. So think about it. You rent an apartment now, a 2-bedroom, $22,000, easy. A 3-bedroom, $2,500. So when you go to rent that apartment, you need security. Sometimes first and second month's rent, the moving cost. You can be in close to $10,000 for the move. And then, you know what? She's asking me, am I sure they're not going to turn around and sell the house after a year? And you know what my answer is? No, I'm not sure. I would like to think not, but you're never sure. And the owner could tell you, I'm not going to sell. And in a year, if you have a year lease, that's all you're guaranteed to live in that house is a year. They can tell you a year and a day that we need the house for our circumstances changed. We need the house for our family. And now, guess what? You're moving again. So it's something to think about. If you can buy, I always recommend to buy for so many reasons. And these are actual life reasons that I've come across this last week with 3 different clients that have just proved it's always smart to buy. That's kind of this week's message. As I said, I'm having my boy John Kelly on Friday night. And then we're following up with Catherine Narducci. Can't wait for that. A lot of stuff going on. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep liking, keep subscribing. Thank you. Take care.